This is an HR program on demand, a living seed capsule of work life and workplace coming live from a rooftop in Stockholm, Sweden. It's me, Ann-Marie Andrich, and
me, Katarina Berg.
A vodcast, if you like, on HR, straight across the counter. Sponsored by HR The Real Deal, HR by HR for HR. Hello, Katarina.
Hey, Ann-Marie.
What's on your mind this very windy summer evening in Stockholm?
I'm quite excited because it's all about the HR professional having a boom right now. I think it's very hard not to notice how much search companies or headhunters or whatever you would like to name them are looking for senior HR BPs, CHROs, CPOs, meaning in that sense not product but chief people officers. I also, I think a week ago, read about the statistics saying that kind of the boom or the search or the uptake is like 20% right now. So for anybody that is window shopping or even leaning in a bit, the market looks tremendously good when you are within HR. And we all know the reason why. I think, with the backdrop of last year and the ongoing pandemic, I think there was all eyes on HR. And I think HR stepped up. And where you didn't have a HR that didn't step up, I think the need and, the need and want for a professional kind of front-leaning, business close, crisis management, change management, and all those things that are within our forte were very, very, very important, and it was very obvious if you had that or not. So not just the big companies and not the medium companies, but also what I hear, and I never had an email or a phone call a day, more or less, come in. And I know that you have the same kind of situation going on, when you sit behind your computer or next to your phone a day, also from startups, which I think is a new, very, very smart trend, that they have realized that they shouldn't wait until they have like 350 or 500 or 1,000 people before they got a professional HR department or people department or people experience team in place, because you will lose so much traction, you will lose focus, and having a great idea is not just enough. You need to execute on that, and you need to have the org design in place, you need to get the right talent in, and you need to shift the load from the left leg to the right leg exactly in the right time, which usually is a bit too early according to everybody in the organization. So do you recognize this?
I'm just smiling.
Yeah.
I so recognize this. And I think I also, to your last point of, startups. A few years back, people were waiting, right? And now we get pinged, not only you and I, but we also, in the HR community, where they get, they ping us to say, how do we do this? And when do I bring in HR? Because they also, I think they have learned, maybe the hard way, that if you wait too long with the HR and the people agenda, then, that could actually be too long, and then it becomes a bit more cumbersome in scaling up, for example. So that, I think, is a very obvious trend. And I also agree with you that it has never been more attractive to be in HR, in all disciplines, actually, right? And, being a generalist, being a specialist, the profession is sought after. So, and to your point, I think companies that during the pandemic did not have the HR support that they needed, they were painfully aware of what that actually meant. So it's good to be in HR, that's for sure, right?
I think it is, and I think everybody sees it as an investment. It is very hard to go into even a small company that started in the wrong direction, because habits are very hard to get rid of. And if you're gonna put the foundation in when everybody's already started to build floor 5, 6, and 7, and are screaming for 8, 9, 10, you have to be quite professional. I think you have to be quite seasoned. I
That
think you
was
have
a
to be.
bumblebee, sorry.
So the bumblebee, like Spotify, you never know. Somebody didn't tell them that they're not supposed to be flying and also killing it while doing it. So I think that is on my mind. I'm really happy. And then if you don't just look at companies, I think the other thing is that we see now as behaviorists. Again, maybe not every day, but at least every week, there is a call in of, can you be a NED, right? Can you be?
And what is a NED? Let's decode that for everyone.
I think we usually we used to talk about BOD, right? So
Yes.
we used to talk about board of directors.
Yeah.
So non-executive director.
Yes.
And are you willing to sit in this board? Are you willing to sit in this board? Could can you even relate to what we're doing? Would you be happy? It used to be more like, hey, maybe we need a token hire. Like, you're a woman, you're in HR, maybe we could have a token. It's not about that at all anymore. It's about, we need somebody that has this point of view. We need somebody that has this skill set, these capabilities, this experience, which is something new, right? And I find that to be both about time, to be honest.
Yeah,
and,
agree.
and two, I think that will be so beneficial for both the business and that company's people, right? But there is growing pains. So in every kind of change of that growth for a company, I think that would be so well invested, both in the board, but also to have a professional HR department.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice time to be in HR. Definitely, I would say. Another thing that I think is on the table still, and I think will be so for quite some time, is obviously, the future of work from anywhere, the hybrid model, or what have you. And I think what I'm picking up now is that people are looking into the space, the place, right? If they have figured out sort of, whether they are going to be a distributed first or an office-based or if they will have an office-based approach, people are now, or companies are looking into what will the office look like. Do you have the same sort of sense of the office space discussion now?
Exactly. I also think that there has been a switch in the beginning. I think every second call was about, so we're interested about your program. Why are you launching the program? What make you launch the program? What is working from anywhere? Now it's switched into exactly what you are stating. It is, okay, so what will the office look like then? Furniture-wise, room-wise, what will be the meaning? Why do you think people will come to the office? How will they use the office? If it's not for work, is it like if we move the workplace into the homes, are we now moving the home into the workplace? Is it for collaboration? Is it for relaxation? Is it for focused work? Is it for creativity or innovation? Or is it for all of that, but not maybe so much for the desks, right, per se? So I think it's more about the design and build out and also trying to figure out where, the teams that are looking into how do you build bridges, the connectivity, the social tissue, and knowing that, it's very windy today.
It's very windy.
But also knowing that we are creatures of habit, but we're also social creatures, right? So we want to come in and we want to, what researchers refer to as the third room. How do you spontaneously bump into people, and how do you continue that conversation, and how do you start to talk about something that you didn't have planned, or how do you make sure that the people that you want to run into, or the people that don't even work with in your team. So I think you are spot on. I think it's all about kind of the furniture, even creating those different rooms.
It will be very interesting when we are allowed, when we can open up to see, how people will behave coming back to the office. Obviously, there is such a need and a thirst now to meet one another. Yeah. And I think also, or let me ask you, do you think that...
Let me ask you.
Let me
if
ask
you can see me, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you there? Yes.
We're soon.
Do you have
about
another
to-
hairy question for me? Yeah.
I have a hairy question. The last question before we wrap up, before we fly off this rooftop. Some companies, and you're actually one of the companies, but there are other companies who have sort of redesigned their offices now with a well thought through process. And then as we open up, do you think that there will be some good learnings there when people start coming into the office and then maybe moving in the office space a bit differently than you anticipated? Because this is typically what we do as humans, right? There is a path here, but I actually choose this one, right?
Yeah.
So what would be your reflections there?
I think it's going to be the one that farmers already know, especially the farmers that are used to bringing up cows. You know, the leader cow, the one with the bell.
Yeah.
You usually don't put a bell on a cow that is your favorite cow. You usually watch and see and learn which cow the other cows will follow, right? And then you put the bell on. And I think it's the same thing. We have listened to all our people. We did all the surveys. We did differentiate the different neighborhoods, as we call them, depending on what the team and the people in that team said that this is the way we would like to use it when we come back, and this is the way that we work, and this is the kind of the rhythm of and flow of what a typical day or week looks like. And then we open the gates.
Yes.
Yeah. And the water takes other ways,
Exactly.
right? It always finds other ways.
Yeah.
But then you have to be open and you iterate. You have to be humble about everything, right? And this is an ongoing experiment that all people in all of the world are now, not just Spotify, obviously, and not just the companies that are digital or the ones that have decided what their program would look like. We all need to change. And if you are people first company, you also have to decide what that actually means. So it could be more restriction, it could be less, it could be all the things where it makes sense for your company. And I don't think it is like one of those follow John. This company is doing this, let's do that. What makes sense for our people, what makes sense for our business, what makes sense and is relevant. And then we iterate, we tweak it, and we take it from there.
And we continue learning.
Exactly.
Yes. Excellent. Good.
Yeah.
Are we good to close the session with the three things?
I think we should always, hopefully after the pandemic, let's stay safe is not as important, but I think you should stay safe. I think you should stay active, and I think you should stay strong.
Ide medalje.
Oh.